Good morning. A little bit of an early start today, just after 7 o'clock, because I've come down to the driving centre to renew my licence. And here in Phuket there is somewhat of a long wait. If you make an appointment online you can have to wait up to 6 months. But as you can see, there's already a queue here this morning, and as I mentioned, it's only just after 7 o'clock. What we are going to try and do is, if you come down and queue up in the morning, you may be able to get a ticket to come back later in the afternoon to sit the reactions test and then have your picture taken and of course get your driving license. Now, it's been a while since I last renewed my license because I've got the 5-year license as opposed to the 2-year license, which you can get if you're a tourist or a person that doesn't stay here in Thailand for long periods. But to get the 5-year license, which I have, you have to obviously be living permanently here. So I've had 2 temporary licenses over my time and a 1 5-year license, which I'm trying to renew today. Before, you used to be able to come first thing in the morning. It looks like it's still available because there is a queue, as you can see behind me, and you wait till the office opens at 8:30 and then go in, and if you're in the front of the queue, towards the front of the queue, you can get a number to come back in the afternoon. So it's not guaranteed, of course, and it just depends on where you are in the queue. They only accept so many walk-in customers. Of course, you need your documentation, which you will have seen if you've watched the channel over the last week. I've got together my letter of residency, which I had to get from Phuket Immigration, and also the medical certificate. You need photocopies, of course, of your visa, your passport, etc. So just behind me here is the actual test circuit. If you're actually coming to make a license rather than just a renewal, this is where you're going to take your driving test, both for cars and motorbikes. The tests over here in Thailand are very basic, and I would highly recommend you get yourself a Thai license. You may be from one of the countries that you can just exchange your license for a Thai license. So if you've already got a motorbike license or a car license, you can come down to the test centre and they may not require you to do an actual full test. But of course, if you don't have a motorbike license already from your own country, this is where you will take your motorbike test. Honestly, if you can't pass a Thai driving test, then really you shouldn't be on the road, because it is a very basic test, and one that I would recommend you get if you're staying here, as I mentioned, for long term, to avoid the police checks and fines. Because if you are using a license from outside of Thailand, normally it's only valid for the first 3 months of your stay. Some licenses are valid a little bit longer, and I would recommend you look into that period of time that your license is valid. Of course, you will need an international driving permit to go along with your license to be totally legal, but as soon as you can, make a Thai driving license, and that will then take all the worry, the stress, and obviously make sure that you comply with the law for the insurance purposes, because you will be covered under your proper Thai license. So you can already see quite a few people turning up, and it's not even 7:30 yet. The queues here in Phuket, unfortunately, for either making or renewing a license are very long. We're going to take a look today. I'll let you know in a little bit, once the driving centre opens, on whether we manage to get a ticket for later today. Normally you get the ticket in the morning, then you have to come back after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go inside with your ticket number, and then when it's called you'll go and sit the reactions test, and then they will take the photo and give you your driving licence. Okay, the driving centre has just opened up. It's just after 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a girl at the front announcing, because it's a little bit chaotic here, to say the least, and most people don't really know what's going on. There's no queue that you can see as such, it's just a random. I was right at the front, but then we were told that we got to go to this section, because this section here is for a renewal of a license for 5 years. So they've got separate sections. So if you're coming here and you already have an appointment to make a brand new license, you will go inside straight away and upstairs to the classroom, because you have to sit an examination. But if you are coming for a renewal of a license, depending on whether it's a temporary license or a 5-year license, there's a different queue and a different section. So we've now got to wait till 8:30 for the lady to come out to deal with this section of people and not this section. This is a different queue altogether. If you are making a brand new license, that is over 2 days. The first day will be in the classroom, and then the second day will be on the actual driving course. So it really depends on what you're coming here for, but I'm obviously coming to renew my license, or alternatively make that online appointments, see what the dates. But the last I heard, there was up to 6 months waiting here in Phuket. If you can avoid making your license here in Phuket, it may be better if you want to go to a different area and go and make your license. I have made my license before in my wife's hometown of Tarang, which is further south, and there was no queues, and just literally walk in and do it the same day. But here in Phuket, obviously it's a lot busier. Okay, so we've managed to get a ticket number. It is very chaotic here, and there's no real system that you can see, especially if you're a foreigner. Everything's obviously geared for the Thai people, so you do sort of have to grab hold of one of the assistants if you can find one and ask them directly what you need to do, because we were told that we got a queue here after queuing there. So you don't want to be queuing there unless you've actually made an online appointment, which I've tried to do this morning, just out of curiosity to see how long the wait would be. And the earliest date that I could find was July, bearing in mind this month we're in March. So 4 months wait for me if I wanted to book online. So if you're coming down here on just spec to renew your license, then you're going to have a little bit of faffing about. You really need somebody that can speak Thai with you. It's going to make the process a little bit easier. My wife Nat grabbed one of the assistants, spoke to her, and the assistant gave her a ticket telling her to come back at 9:30. We can wait inside if you want. You don't have to leave and come back. We've made a few photocopies this morning. You need a photocopy of your passport, you need a photocopy of your visa. You also need the medical certificate, you need the letter of residence and a photocopy of your driving license along with the expired driving license. Bearing in mind this is for a renewal of a driving license. I presume the 2-year renewal, if you're doing it for a 2-year one, is the same process as the 5-year, but I'm not 100% on that, because again, it does show the two, the temporary and the long term, but we're just doing the 5-year. I'm going to go and wait now inside, and then when they call the number at 9:30, we're then going to have our documents checked. I've got to show the online certificate as well. That is something you need to do as well. You have to sit an hour video online and get a certificate at the end of it, which you save to your phone. If you decide to book an appointment, I don't suggest you do it on your phone, because the IT here in Thailand is not very good, and on the mobile app you can't scroll for the numbers, for the date of birth, the month, etc. It's very, very difficult. I tried about 3 or 4 times before I managed to get it to work, so I would recommend maybe doing it at home on a laptop or desktop if you're going to make the appointment. But once we know a little bit more information, I'll fill you in. Okay, well, the joys of dealing with the government. We've spent 3 hours in various queues only to be told that we cannot make the renewal today. I've got to wait till the 17th of April before I can come back here, which means my residence certificate will not be valid because it's only valid for 1 month. My medical certificate won't be valid because it's only valid for 1 month. So if I wait till the 17th of April, then I have to also go and spend another 500 baht for the residence certificate that's supposed to be free from Phuket immigration. And of course I will need to spend another 100 baht to get medical certificate so that I can go and sit my reactions test just to renew my driving license. It is absolute chaos in there. Nobody seems to know what they're doing. The girl behind the desk checks each foreigners' paperwork about 8 to 9 times over and over and over again, yet the queue for the Thais go moving very swiftly indeed. But there are no signs inside to tell you which queue to go in, so a lot of foreigners are queuing in the Thai queue only to find out when they get to the information desk they're then sent to the back of the foreigners queue. So this is something you need to be very careful. So as regards a walk-in to renew or to make a driving license in Phuket, I would forget it, because it's not possible anymore. They're overwhelmed by the amount of people here. You really need to book an appointment, and then within 1 month of that appointment date, go and make your medical certificate and residence letter, because if you make it for more than 1 month before, it's going to be invalid. So you just need to do it a few weeks before your appointment. But I would advise you to book an appointment online regardless of the waiting, because the hassle that we've had this morning, we've been here since 7 a.m. and it is now gone 10 o'clock and we've walked out with nothing but an appointment. So waste of time basically today. So I don't recommend you walking in here. Make an appointment online, do it that way, and then you stand more chance of being able to renew your driving license. Obviously, if you're making a new driving license, then that is a slightly different process, but again, I would recommend you book in advance.